Hi kids, welcome to part 2. Been taking this thing apart and doing a little bit of cleanup, getting it ready for some painting. I'm going to go ahead and hit this with the citrus strip and see if we can get most of this paint off of here, and then I'll give it a light sanding. I might even primer it. Obviously it wasn't primered when it was new. They just painted over the metal, which, you know, is probably fine, but, you know, we'll see. I'll decide. See what kind of shape it's in when I get the old paint off of there. I think it looks like it was a pretty bright red when it was new, but that's obviously faded. It would have been a, you know, this is verging on pink. But I kind of like the dark red, and I've got some dark red left over from my Alice in Wonderland record player that I did. So I will probably just use that. I've got it in gloss and satin, so I can figure out which one I like better. Probably satin. But anyway, that's going to be next. I'm going to get the citrus strip on these painted parts and get them ready for a repaint. The parts inside, they cleaned up really well. I just took them inside and dish soap and a Scotch-Brite pad and cleaned them up really well. I took them apart, obviously. These little springs that go on here that push everything around, you know, those were a little rusty. I got most of the rust off of them, but I might go ahead and hit them with the navel jelly just to see if I can get the rest of it off of there. They're nice enough. I think one of them's a little wonky. You can see that one's a little, it's not straight. It's got a little dog leg in it, but it should be fine. Same with this, same with the distributor. I took it apart and did the same thing. Cleaned it up really well, and I think it's going to be fine. I just have to, the screws that hold that on there, the 3 screws are fairly rusty, so, you know, I may try to find replacements, but I'll probably just stick them in the navel jelly and try to clean them up. I cleaned up the hopper pretty good too, because this is where the actual, you know, candy is going to go, so that's ready to go. I just got an eBay alert. What's it say? Oh, okay. I found a globe for it on eBay yesterday. I bought the glass for it. Only $31 plus $10 shipping, so that's not a bad deal. So, you know, all told, I'm still into this thing for just under $50. So, if I don't buy anything else, you know, I do need to buy a lock for it, and those are about $8, and I'll need to buy a set of feet for it, and I think that's about the same. They're about $8. So I'm hoping to keep it under $100, because these do sell for, you know, $150, $200 restored. If I ever decide to sell it, I'll come out ahead, but for now I'm planning on keeping it. Anyway, that's where we're at here so far, so I'm going to stop this and get a couple of things done, and then I'll come back. I'll work on this rust and things and see how we do stripping the paint off of this, and then I'll come back and show you that. Stand by. Well, we're making some progress. I got this stuff on here. It's been on here for 5-6 minutes. Interesting, there's that layer of red that we're trying to get through, and I thought I was getting down to the bare metal because it was looking very gray, but there's another layer there. Somebody may have primered it in between, or they may have painted it silver or something on top. I'm not sure which, but there's definitely another layer of paint there, another color. It was red, and then this, whatever this silver or gray color is, could be silver, could be primer, and then the dark red on top of that. So, kind of interesting. We're getting through it. Gonna let it sit on here for a little while longer and do its thing. This, I think it's looking more like it was just on the top, because if I look at this piece, it sure looks like I'm getting down to the bare metal there underneath this. You know, I'm trying to clean my brush a little bit and get a better look at it, but it sure looks like bare metal to me. So I think they probably, I've seen some of these had silver tops, so I'm thinking, I don't think it did originally, because it sure looks like the same light red paint all the way underneath, but I think at some point I think they tried to make it silver or white or something. It's hard to say. It looks gray. Anyway, we're getting it. We're going to get rid of all of it, and we're just going to repaint it and make it look nice. So once I get these finished and cleaned up, I'll let you have a look at them. Stand by. Okay, let's take a quick look before the battery dies on this iPad. That's down to bare metal, pretty much, you know. So I think there were just 2 layers of paint on that and nothing else. And I expect the main body is going to be the same way when I get it cleaned up. The top's a different story. The top was painted several times. It looks like it was a blue originally. That's coming right off. And then a couple of layers of red over that, and then this grayish, it's pink now because of all the red, but I think it was gray, probably primer, and then another coat of red over that. So this has been painted several times. So the top was probably replaced at some point. It looks to me like it was originally blue. So it's kind of interesting. But anyway, that's coming off. All the paint it's scraping right off there, just with my fingernail. So we'll get it the rest of the way, get all that cleaned out from around the letters on top, and get some primer and paint on this thing, and we'll be ready to go. So stand by for that. Okay, real quick. As you can see, we have glass that arrived today. I'm not painting it white. I just have it in white primer, getting ready to paint. There's the top. Everything's looking pretty good. Got a nice coat of primer on it. Just doing the handheld thing real quick here while I show you this. Anyway, you can see the glass is pretty nice. This is original glass. It's not a reproduction. It's in pretty good shape. I got a good deal on it. I got it for about $30. Reproductions cost about $95. So you can see that the way the glass is, it's not perfect, and that's the way they are, and it's kind of part of their appeal. The way they're kind of almost swirled. You'll notice that the threaded shafts are taller. You can't put the lid on it right now. And the reason for that is I didn't take any measurements before I bought this. Apparently this candy machine originally had a taller glass globe, but it was probably, looks like it was the 8-pound globe. This is a 6-pound globe. This is a small one. So I was going to replace these shafts anyway because all 3 of them are bent. So I'm just going to plan on doing that. When I order my parts, I'm going to just buy the shorter ones, and then everything will be fine. And we'll go with this smaller glass globe, which I like better anyway. I think it's a better look to have the smaller globe instead of the great big tall one. And you see, I cleaned this up a little bit, looking pretty good. I'll clean it up a little bit more. Looks like inside the letters they're still a little grungy, but this I will clean up after I order parts. There's a flat spring in there that I want to replace. So when I order all my parts, I'm going to take this mechanism apart, and I'll show you all of that. I'm going to take it apart and clean it up and oil it and everything and put it back together. But that's where we're at, and making progress. As you can see, I got a nice coat of primer on there, and we're getting ready to apply some paint. The interesting thing about the center shaft, I'll tell you real quick in case I forget to mention it later. I don't want to take this apart on camera, but down in there at the base of this threaded shaft is a nut, so that it stops. When you tighten it up, it stops in the right place, so that this is the right length for putting the lid on and the lock and everything. And what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to get down in there with my Dremel tool and basically cut this shaft off so that I can get a socket over that nut and get it out, because this thing's in there good and tight. And that way I'll be able to put the new shaft in there. So I'll try to remember to show that process when we get to it, which should be fairly soon. But anyway, I just wanted to update this, give you an idea what's going on. Won't be long. I mean, it's about mid-September now, and it's been a couple of weeks since I started working on this. I've been working on it off and on. I want to get it done in time for Halloween, fill it full of candy for Halloween. So that's where we are right now. So I think it's probably long enough to call this a part 2, so I think we'll go with that. So stay tuned for part 3, and thanks for watching.